How's it going, everybody? It's Heaven's Mouthpiece here, back again with another video. Thanks so much for tuning in, and today I am super excited to bring you a video on Notes from Underground by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Now, if you don't already know, Dostoevsky is one of my favorite authors, one of my favorite of all time even, and I've been hearing a lot about this book ever since I've even gotten into literature, and it's especially blowing up right now due to the Sigma male stuff that's going on TikTok. Not sure if you guys are into that sort of thing, but it's at least happening, and I'll probably get some more views on this. So I'm not going to go too much more into this. I'm going to cut to the B-roll here, and then I will get to the book review after. Like I said earlier, Dostoevsky is one of my favorites. I've read a ton of books by him already, from the Brothers Karamazov to The Idiot, and many more, including some of his essays. Now, I'm very excited to bring you this review today because this has sort of been a trending book. Online on TikTok, they've been talking significantly more about existentialism, especially in today's society. It seems to be some sort of micro-movement. I'm not sure if it's here to stay, but right now it is very powerful. Like always, I don't like to keep you guys waiting. I did like this book quite a bit, but it wasn't my favorite. I would like to give this book a 6.5 out of 10. I could go on and on about the themes in this book, but I'm just going to briefly cover a few of them, and if you want me to do a video going further into existentialism or how these themes are interacting in Dostoevsky's work, just comment below and I'll probably make that for you guys. And also, if you got any thoughts on this book, please comment. Also, if you could like this video, I'd really appreciate that too. Existentialism is a movement that started in the 20th century, however, it does point further back than this. This book here, Notes from Underground, is often cited as being the first existentialist novel. Now, this isn't an existentialist pro-novel, this is actually a bit of an anti-existentialist novel. Existentialism is defined as individuals are able to create meaning in their own lives rather than some deity like a god. And this is very contrary to what Dostoevsky believes. Now, Dostoevsky, if you don't know, is a Christian, a very staunch Christian in fact, and in his early life he was actually quite the opposite. A bit of a dreamer, someone who thought that we could go beyond towards utopian societies, and later towards his life he moved off into a bit more of a pessimistic view, traditional, and overall a kind of view that was not in line with his earlier ideas. Well, this novel here is extremely interesting and proposes the idea that the person who is making his own choices, the man underground, who is our protagonist in this novel, I'm not sure if we can even call him a protagonist, is kind of a disgusting person, someone that you wouldn't want to be. Dostoevsky's trying to show us that a life where we're not predetermined or at least affected by some sort of Christian moral grounding, whether it be Christianity, Buddhism, or some other divination, we will lead into paths that are not necessarily great for us as human beings. And Notes from Underground does this incredibly well. In fact, it's just an entire roast on humanity as we exist and a lot of the things that we do which are wrong, mainly those things being inaction, and how if we're not doing something, then we're just born into complacency. Just like every good movement, which is existentialism, whether you think that's good or bad, you do need something that's coming against it. And Dostoevsky thoroughly understands this existentialist movement, and he believes it's bad, and that's why he wrote this novel. This really informs later writings, which are existentialists, whether it be Camus, Lenin, which is somewhat of a Marxist existentialism, and even people like Tolstoy, who Dostoevsky acclaims as a great writer himself. Now, the way in which he informs this writing is not in the sense that people are building on top of what he's doing, it's taking a contrarian view. He really does a good job at pointing out the flaws in existentialism and how this could lead humanity to a worse place than it was before, and future readings and literature tend to combat these things and try to find ways around what Dostoevsky is presenting here, as this is the primary piece of existentialist novels or literature. He really does affect the whole sphere. While I think this is an incredibly important novel, that's kind of where my love with this ends. Now, reading the book, I had a pretty good time. It took me about 3 sessions to finish it. I read it on audiobook, and I did it at like a 1.5 times, like just so I could get through it quicker. It really hurt to just hear this man complain for like 5 hours non-stop. While a lot of it was pretty hard-hitting, and at times I was a bit more interested than others, especially when he gets into the second half of the novel and he's talking about like actual events where he's going to see the prostitutes, his friends are making fun of him, all kinds of things which you can see have a little bit more fiction rather than just philosophical talk, which, speaking of philosophical talk, Dostoevsky, if you don't like just reading about philosophy, this is not a novel for you. I'm sorry. But if you do, this is a good one to give it a shot. I wouldn't say it's the one that I recommend the most, but it's something you could try. Overall, for what he was trying to do in this novel, which was get the Russian society away from westernization and these more liberal, socialist, utopian ideas, and show them that there can be problems in society that we do need to address, this is an incredibly good novel for that fact. And this is very well reflected in people taking his ideas here and trying to move off of them and come up with solutions to the problems that he's presenting. Notes from Underground is an incredibly important piece of literature from one of my favorite authors. It's not the best book I've ever read, and it is by far not the worst. It's extremely important, like I said earlier, and has influenced so many other people to create their own existentialist novels, whether it be for or against, and I love seeing its influence. I wouldn't recommend this for your first Dostoevsky book, but if you're really intent on reading it, go ahead. Awesome book. But if you are looking for a recommendation on your first Dostoevsky book, I'd probably go with something easier to understand, like Crime and Punishment. While it has a lot of complex themes, it has a bit more of a storyline which you can get into, and then you'll come back to some of these more advanced Dostoevsky novels where he talks a lot more about philosophy, and you'll be a lot more apt to understanding and sticking with the thought that he has. Now, I hope you guys do read this book, and if you do, please let me know below in the comments. If you like this video, please drop a like, and if you really like me and what I'm putting out, please subscribe. It helps me out a bunch. I'd love to keep making these videos for you guys, and if you got any ideas for new ones, just drop a comment below. I'll probably make the video. I'm not kidding. And I appreciate you guys for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.